Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals just like you come to learn all the most efficient, powerful, abundant ways to grow their firm, sharpen their sales skills, and have consistent, increasing revenue year over year. I cover topics from pricing, sales, networking, objections, ideal clients, some marketing ideas, and really about how to increase your cash flow and profitability and set boundaries so you have the firm that you've always dreamt of. You're no longer giving away your time for free. You're no longer putting yourself on sale, and you are being paid for the value and worth that clients actually appreciate you for. So you'll learn tips and strategies as well as hear personal interviews from successful accounting professionals. This podcast will show you exactly how to create the firm of your dreams and the life full of abundance. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. It is great to be back with you for another amazing episode. And today we have a very special guest. But before we welcome our special guest, I wanted to share, if you are an accounting professional and you've been really feeling frustrated and stressed trying to get like the right quality clients and being confident in saying no to the ones that no longer serve you and feel like you have no control over who you're working with or really how much you can charge, then it's not your fault. Nobody's really training on how to fix these problems and really connect the dots. And up until now, really my only higher end clients have had access to the information, but I'm excited to share with you that I am offering a complimentary coaching session to discover what possibilities could exist within your firm and explore and discover what those look like together on the phone. So if you are looking for those ideal clients, you want to get paid what you're worth and really build the dream firm doing 6 or 7 figures so you can have more time and more money left over to actually go on a family vacation and unplug 100% and have a margarita with the little umbrella on top, then I recommend heading over to theabundantcall.com to book a chat with myself or someone on my team and really getting to the depth of what's holding you back, or like today what we're going to talk about, the sales beliefs that could be holding you back, and exploring and getting to the truth of what that could look like. So once again, head on over to theabundantcall.com. And today's special guest is Denise Mandeau. She is also my partner in crime here at The Abundant Accountant. And you probably heard many episodes if you listen to episode number like 1 through 20 or 30. But she is a business growth strategist and has proven success as not only a business owner, a financial planner, but also as an award-winning sales professional with over 35 years of experience. She has learned what it takes to produce results and has been working with professionals and sales teams over the past few years, helping them generate millions of dollars in new business. And she has personally closed over $1.8 million in revenue of new business in just the last 12 months. Denise is passionate about teaching others how to learn and how to enroll the sales process, and really calling it more of enrollment. So you don't have to do that without being pushy or being salesy or being annoying or a nag. So she is the yin to my yang, and we complement each other really well. So let's give a warm welcome, and welcome Denise to the show. Welcome Denise to the show.
Hey, Michelle, it's so good to be here again with you. It's been a little while.
It has been a little while, but I'm super happy to be here back on the Abundant Accountant Podcast with you. For those of you that don't know Denise, I'll let you introduce yourself real quick, but she is part of the Abundant Accountant team. We've done a lot of podcasts back in the day, so if you go back to the first 1 to 20 episodes, I'm sure you've heard us there. So Denise, please feel free to make an intro and, who you are and, where do you live?
Well, my name is Denise Mandeau, and I live in Neptune, New Jersey, about 10 minutes from Asbury Park. If you know anything about Bruce Springsteen, you know that's where the boss got his start. So, and I've been in the financial services industry for over 22 years. and just love working with other financial service practitioners. I love accountants, love everything about sales and enrollment, and that's why me and Michelle are absolute buds.
Yes, and we are all about that today. So, I was talking to Denise, I think it was yesterday, and it's so interesting when we have phone calls with those of you who choose to, want to explore what it's maybe like working with Denise and I to improve the revenues in your firm and really get out of the rat race that you've been in, or what I've learned, putting together Excel spreadsheets to come up with your pricing and not getting to where you want to be. We're actually going to talk about the 5 sales beliefs that are holding you back from getting to a 6 or 7 figure firm that we've come up with, because one of them actually stemmed from a phone call that I had with one of our newest students in our 8-week sales mastery training. And we're just going to call him Bob today. But I'm going to talk about Bob in our conversation and how some of these thoughts might be actually, percolating in your head, and how those thoughts are so powerful, and how your words and what you say to yourself and to each other, or to your family, or to your, your inner critics in your head. You've got your whole committee up there, and I'm sure they're giving you feedback on a daily basis as to how great you're doing or how not great you're doing. But all of that is really what's holding us back. So we're going to talk about the 5 sales beliefs that are holding you back from where you want to be. And also we'll go through one way you can reframe and shift that. And then your homework is going to be to do that for the other 4 beliefs. So Denise, thanks for being here with us today. And let's just dive in, because I want to share what Bob had to say on the phone call. And he was like, Michelle, I hate sales. And I think that's probably one of the biggest beliefs that's holding us back, because, hating sales, or hating the process of actually asking for the money from clients, or whatever you define sales as today, that belief is actually running the show. The belief of that you don't like sales, you hate it. I mean, that was strong words that Bob had the other day. So Denise, what do you feel when someone says they hate sales? Because it's probably true. I mean, I know Bob hates sales. I get it. He doesn't have a process. He doesn't have a plan. He feels like he should just, come together with how many hours he thinks it'll take, then reduce it just to get clients to say yes to him, because he's desperate. He's desperate for revenue. But it's interesting how we're desperate for revenue, but then we also actually hate sales.
Well, and that's the funny thing, Michelle, is because people say that, but then when we start digging in a little bit more, it's like, but people want to make revenue, but, that's the thing, is that people don't like to be sold, but they like to buy things, right? So I know I like to buy things. So it's really about our experiences maybe we've had in the past, or our insecurities coming up, like, oh gosh, what if I ask somebody to work with me and they say no? Yeah. Like, that's, people get scared, like, of that, even that little word, no. What does that mean?
Well, and I think it's like with Bob, he felt like he was an internal pessimist. He resented his clients. He actually said that to me. Michelle, I resent my clients, right? He feels like a commodity, and then feels like he has to justify his prices. And what he realized is why he hated the sales process was actually because he didn't have a formula or a procedure to follow. It's almost like for me going to the gym, if I didn't really know what to do at the gym, I didn't know what weights to lift, I didn't know what I had to do to get the end result that I wanted, I wouldn't really enjoy that process either. I'd be like, I'd rather just like lay down in bed or sit on the couch and drink another cup of coffee or have some tea. So, and I want to bring this up because if you've never read Jen Sincero's book, what is it? Making money. No, hold on. Let me get you the exact title, but it's really good. So you are a badass at making money. I wanted to listen to it because there were so many similarities about the power of our beliefs and what we think. and how what we think and our beliefs and our thoughts actually happen.
It's so true, Michelle. It's so true. Like if we think like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get on the phone with someone or I'm going to meet with them and they're just going to try to, get me to discount my fees and I hate that. And, if that's what's always there, then we were talking about it earlier today, right? That's the energy, that's the vibration you're putting out. And that's what you're going to attract, people who are going to prove that to be the truth. So when we can, start examining how we're really thinking about things, then we can begin to shift that and create new beliefs, right? That actually will produce new results.
And that's really the only solution that there is for your current beliefs. So we're going to talk about the top 5 sales ones that are probably holding you back. But the way to shift these is to rewrite it so you can start reprogramming yourself into something new, a new belief. Because let's just say the belief is, I hate sales. Well, if you keep like Bob, right? Bob, he was feeling like a pessimist. He resented his work. He felt like a commodity and he justified his prices. And he also charged like a commodity. So if that's you, which I know there's a few of you that might resonate with this, we're actually doing our clients, Denise, a disservice by lowering our frequency. So if you justify, if you discount, if you actually start answering client emails and they're not even paying you, and you start giving little tidbits of answers, we're lowering the frequency that we're actually vibrating at in order to generate the wealth, the abundance, the money to go on those vacations. I was just on an accountability call and Dave went to the lake and checked out for a whole week without his laptop, kicked his feet up. Diana went and hung out with her daughter for her 39th birthday and drank some beers on the lake. Anna Barbara went to Spain. I mean, and they're like completely disconnecting to the point where they don't even want to talk to me. I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. But we have to think about the energy of the exchange that we're having with our clients. And if it is lower than, let's just say 0, right? Well, let's just call it sea level. If we're below sea level, then we got some problems. We need to start coming above sea level where we can have an energy of exchange that what Jen says in her book, and I loved it so much, was clean. We have to have like Tesla energy, solar energy, renewable energy. Anything else is toxic. Resenting clients is toxic. Hating sales, that's a toxic statement that will lower your frequency and vibration to below sea level and not have you in the flow of abundance.
Yeah. And it'll have you drowned.
Yeah.
If you're below sea level, you'll drown.
You're going to go down to the bottom of the ocean. That's what these statements will do to us. And they're so powerful in that way. Yeah. So anything else on that, Denise, on how do we shift what would you say? So for Bob, he hates sales. How could he reframe that to see it maybe from a different perspective to increase the energy of that frequency and to keep that energy clean and not toxic? And soon after a while, it will start to shift.
Yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as I love serving people and I love people making choices to invest in their future. It's all about having conversations I love having conversations with people about improving their future or improving their lives so that they can have more peace and possibilities, right? Because especially for accounting professionals and that we work with, that is what they do, right? That's really what the results are that you provide for people is peace of mind.
Very true.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's shifting from I hate sales to I create peace of mind and removing the mental clutter that my clients have. Because in our class today, we were bringing up what came to me was for all of you that do pumpkin planning, profit first, tax planning, accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, balance sheets, trial balances, tax resolution, you name it, to Denise and I and all of your clients, you could pretend we're in Japan. You dumped us off at the subway. We're in the tunnel. We can't read a thing. We can't understand anything around us. And that's what it's like for us. That's literally what it's like. We're in a tunnel and we couldn't even know what direction or how to comprehend anything that's really being said to us when it relates to accounting or tax or the complex financial stuff, or any of you with tax resolution clients. I mean, they're dodging the IRS, you guys.
Yep.
They really are in a pickle. Like they
want help getting out of the tunnel, and you can do that.
Yeah. And
but
maybe
they have to know you can do that.
And maybe that's your reframe. Instead of I hate sales, I help people get out of the dark tunnels so they actually can see a light at the end of their tunnel. Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
All right. Well, that was the first sales belief that I wanted to uncover because this actually was brought up by Bob. So thank you, Bob, if you're listening, even though that's not his real name. Denise, what's the second belief that, we've come to figure out that's really holding someone back from having the 6 to 7 figure firm that I know you all can have? It's possible. It's not that far away either. What is that one?
Another one is I feel like I shouldn't have to sell anything. People should just come to me.
You shouldn't have to feel like you have to sell anything. However, think about being in a tunnel in Japan. I'm in Japan. I don't know Japanese. I can't read a thing. I can't understand anything. I need to be guided out of the tunnel and told what to do so I can get back to my level playing field where there's English around. Right? So if you think about that and envision what that could look like for someone like me, we actually need to be shown the way. We can't figure this out on our own, everybody. That's why accountants, CPAs, EAs, profit first professionals, there's CFO services, there's all of these things out there for people like us, your clients, who have no clue what they need, and they need to be told what to do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And another good one is I don't know how to say no to people. Another
belief. I don't know how to say no to people. And I would say that this is up there with I hate sales from the students and, everyone who Denise and I have worked with. But I don't know how to say no to people because they're your friend or your neighbor. I mean, just think about how much you resent doing that work when you know you didn't get paid. And I want to share a little bit more from the book, because when Jen was talking about how she would give her friends maybe a discount because she didn't want to say no to them. She didn't want to not help her friends out. Not only was she devaluing her work, but she actually gave her friends an easy excuse to devalue their efforts. Think about when you haven't said no to someone, you've brought them on as a client, you gave them a pretty cheapo rate, and you actually devalued their efforts. They didn't get you their documents in time. They came to you on April 14th on an April 15th deadline saying they're leaving town tomorrow and that they need their stuff in the next 2 hours. So they don't respect you either, by the way. How many people needed a rush job? I'm so sorry, I've been gone. I've been so busy. Here's my paperwork. And at the end of the day, they're not that invested. And so when we take everybody on and we feel like we can't say no to some people because we feel bad or they need our help or they're in financial hardship due to a pandemic or whatever it is at that time, they're actually not that invested in fixing the problem or in getting you the documentation that you need to do your work in a timely fashion. And then you end up justifying your prices. And now we are lowering the frequency. So not only are we doing ourselves and our prospects or client a disservice by lowering our frequency because we can't say no. So when we can't say no, that is a form of going below sea level, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And then the energy of that exchange, you're going to drown. It's like putting a boat anchor on the boat and it drops down to the sea so the boat doesn't move around. We're stuck. It basically paralyzes us and them at the same time.
And like we talked about also, Michelle, it's rewarding bad behavior. And so then they just keep thinking they can do it again and again. We allow it.
Yeah. And it's a vicious cycle that it's really hard to get out of. And I think a lot of you probably have a roster on your client list of people that you couldn't say no to because you felt bad. It was the daughters, it was the kids of your best friends, it was your neighbors, it was your coworkers, it was whoever it is. And now that list of 1 to 2 has grown to 20 to 30. And that is going to hinder our flow of abundance because the energy of that exchange was muddled. It was toxic. And when we resent the work and then we feel like we're the commodity, that's when, the energy isn't clean. So I know your homework is to come up with new ways for maybe your own beliefs or some of the ones that we're talking about today. But Denise, how would you shift that belief into a new statement in order to get to an energy that is clean and pure? We're back to that Tesla energy, the solar, the renewable. It is not toxic.
Well, and you're talking about feeling good about saying no, right?
Yeah, feeling good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like no is not a dirty word.
Yeah.
And I think it's in my best interest and the interest of my clients to say no at times when it doesn't really serve them or me. That's what just came to mind. Yeah. It's like no is, it might not be a no forever. It's just, sometimes it's a no for now.
Yeah. It's a no, not right now. And thinking about that, you're just going to give your clients an easy excuse to devalue their efforts. And if they don't work with you because you said no and you're going to stick to your guns, they'll find somewhere else to go, or they'll pay you the fees that you actually should and deserve to charge because you are worthy and you are valued as a tax or accounting professional in the field. And in order to work for somebody, we have to charge for it, unless you are part of the nonprofit community. And if you're in the nonprofit business and your goal is not to double or triple fees or get to 6 or 7 figures in your firm, then that's okay. But and a beautiful thing too, Denise, that Jen talked about in this book, it's a great book and I love it because it reinforces everything that we talk about here and what we teach in our 8-week sales mastery training. But there will be a point where you will want to maybe take on a client that you're not going to charge for. Or maybe you want to take on a church or a synagogue or some other place and not charge for it, but coming from a place where your energy is actually clean and it's not muddled from a belief where you can't say no to a client. There's a different choice and a different place where you make that decision to give your time or make that contribution to someone else from a place of contribution, not from a place of, I can't say no. I need every single person I can get. I'm lucky to even get a client. Michelle, do you know, like, it is, the competition is high. I have to lower my fees in order just to get a client. I'm just starting out. I'm lucky to even get someone to knock on my door. I can't say no to anybody.
those are some beliefs right there. And like there's some other terms also when you're talking about energy is anabolic or catabolic, right? And anabolic energizes you, it lifts you up, right? And catabolic actually drags you down, right? Like and even in that way, like it's all the point of view that you have. Like you could go, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen, or oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen, right?
Right,
It's the same
right.
thing, but it's just a different point of view,
Yeah.
right? So like, wow, I could say no to somebody and release them. Like it could be the best thing because maybe they're going to find somebody who will say yes to them that could really serve them in coming from a place of you know a place of contribution. Because
Yeah.
if I'm feeling like, ew, I don't want to do this work, or oh my God, they're coming to me at the last minute, I'm so frustrated, like that's just gonna, it's on a cellular level. Even when you're in that anabolic or catabolic energy, it actually, that's when you get sick and you get burnout.
What are we at? One, two, or fourth belief that might be holding someone back right now, that your homework today is to take this belief and shift it to something a little bit more empowering that would create that flow of abundance that I know you're looking for and that I know is also possible for you.
Yeah, another one we were looking at is I don't want to be pushy or seem greedy,
So
right?
pushy and greedy. And sometimes
Yeah.
when we feel bad for a client or it's financial hardship or whatever, if we actually said no because that client wasn't a good fit for us, then we wouldn't even have that feeling of greed or pushiness, because the pushiness typically stems from inside of you because of desperation. And when we're desperate, that's where the pushiness really comes from and kind of explodes from, to be honest. Or you can take one of the other ones, but I would practice what we're talking about today and think about how you could reframe it and rephrase it in order for you to shift the frequency of the thought into something different. And what's the last one?
I don't want to be rejected.
I don't want to get rejected. Who wants to get rejected? I don't think any of us want to get rejected. But what if you look at the rejection as that you just dodged a bullet? You just saved
Mm.
yourself from a PITA client. And if you don't know what PITA means, it means pain in the ass client. What if you just saved yourself a million emails, a million headaches, a million phone calls that you never got paid for? What if you saved yourself just so much time on the paperwork side of someone who didn't value and appreciate you to begin with? That's possibly what a rejection could turn into. What do you think,
Yeah,
Denise?
a rejection could be an injection.
Yeah,
An injection of time that that you just put back into your bank because you don't have to work with someone who doesn't value what you do.
I love that. An injection of time. Every single rejection that you get, what if you saw that as I just saved and got an injection of time? We all want our time back. And that's the one thing we never can get back. It's never coming back. The time, I wish, who was the person with the time capsule? I wish we could go back in time and go in the time capsule and get our time back. But once it's gone, it's gone. And
Right.
how can we reinvent and reinvest that time from seeing it as a rejection from that client to it just created so much more space and openness for the perfect client to come. And I love how you said injection of time. So your homework today is to really think about all of those sales beliefs, that they're going to be negative ones, by the way, that are holding you back from really getting to where you want to go, that 6 or 7 figure firm. Is there anything else, Denise, that you want to add? You always have so many amazing gems.
I just think that when you begin to shift these beliefs and you start to feel more confident, because that's what's going to do is give you confidence to have, because it's really just about having conversations with people so that they, that they know that you're there, that they don't have to do it on their own, that, in fact, they shouldn't do it on their own. That's why they need you so much. It's just about helping people understand that what you do, they can't actually afford not to have you work with them. So when you start to shift those beliefs, all of a sudden a higher level, a higher quality vibration of people will start to pop up on your phone, in your calendar, when you are out and about with people. And it's just going to be a whole new experience. You're going to have a lot more fun, and your bottom or your top line revenues will start to grow.
Yeah. And your bottom line net incomes will increase through better margins. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Denise, for being here with us today on the Abundant Accountant podcast. It is always a pleasure and honor to have you here. And for those of you listening, if you're frustrated and stressed trying to get a grip over who you're working with and who you're not, and really busting through some of these sales beliefs that we talked about today, and you really don't believe that you can get clients to pay you those higher monthly fees and increasing monthly recurring revenue, and you think it's all based on what a client can afford, you know what? It's not your fault. There's really no one really training on these. Denise and I would love to explore what that could look like working together and what possibilities could exist if you're willing to get to the truth and to the bottom of really what's holding you back. So I invite each of you, if you've had a firm for at least 2 years, to head on over to theabundantcall.com to book a call with myself or Denise. It is completely free. We do this because this is our clean energy where we love to help you see something that you don't see. We're going to be a mirror for you. So head on over to theabundantcall.com if you would like to explore and discover what it could possibly look like on the other side of what's holding you back with these beliefs. So thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.